Hey everyone, welcome back to This Week in Marketing Show, also known as the TWIM Show. I'm your host Sajid Islam, and today I'll be going over the notable news and updates in the digital marketing space from the week of November 16, 2020. Today, first off, we're going to start off with an update from Instagram. So, Instagram has made Instagram guides globally available. So if you're not sure what guides is, allow me to explain this to you. This was actually introduced back in May 2020 during COVID, where Instagram thought that they could help influencers create quote unquote guides for their followers with recommended posts, images, documents, things like that. And they did it on a trial basis and they really worked very well. And now they're making it available to everyone to be able to create guides. What guides now does, it makes it easier for you to find, curate, and share product places and posts that you love from your favorite accounts on Instagram. So what does that mean for you? Well, if you have a follower, for example, our show, we could create a guide and then we could actually give helpful tips and tricks on certain things, right? It's just going to be like, a mini blog per se, on Instagram. This is one way of Instagram's way to again create engagement as well as create value for the followers for an influencer account. So try it out. We will have to do a separate video on how to create guides just because it's such a new function. However, we have tested out a few accounts that already has guides, and it seems to be working pretty well for them. So again, this created a lot of engagement, and it created so much engagement that Instagram decided to roll it out globally and not just limit it to well-being. So check it out, and if you want to find out more on how to use this new feature, definitely we are going to create a video about it in our private group where we are going to share step by step on how we were able to create guides for our own content. With that, let's move on to the next update. Again, the next update is also from our friends at Instagram. What Instagram is now doing is they're adding keyword search, right? And again, you can see we are thinking maybe they're trying to compete with Google in certain way. And obviously, why should they not? Instagram is the go-to place for a certain demographic, certain group of users, followers, or whatever you call them. The youngsters, they go out there, they post content, and before we could only search using account name, hashtags, and place. Now Instagram will search for keywords in post captions. So this basically becomes, Instagram is suddenly becoming an SEO play. Not React, they're not coming out of the gate and saying that, but right now you cannot just search for any keyword. Instagram searches keywords will be limited to general interest topic. However, this is very interesting because they're gonna keep on. This is stage one of this rollout, right? It's gonna continue to evolve and grow bigger and bigger. So folks, this is a time, if you're listening to this show, this is a time for you to actually pay attention to this and make sure you're creating nice captions, because Instagram is saying they will also rank keyword based on type of content, caption, posting that, and more. So there you go. Next up, we have an update from Twitter. Twitter is introducing or announcing Fleet, which is basically Twitter story future. Now, if you are, by now we all know stories, right? This was Facebook copied it from Snapchat, and then they rolled it into Facebook, and then they rolled it into Instagram. Then LinkedIn has stories. Now Twitter, why should they be, left out? Now, if you are following our show, I've always said it seems like these days a lot of these platforms are copying each other functionalities, saying, hey, this is working well in that competitors landscape ecosystem, let's copy it down. It's like you saying, hey, I'm a steakhouse and my competitor also is a steakhouse and they're doing this thing, let me try that, doing that as well. So they're doing this. What stories our Fleet is going to work out is, how it's going to work out is like, allows you to post impromptu tweets that will disappear after 24 hours, just like stories do. Again, their goal is to post more casually and post on routine content. Again, do we really need more content on this planet? I do not know, but we'll see. how this works out, but Twitter is saying apparently their test when they were testing this out, apparently it has been amazing because again it creates that FOMO, right? oh, what am I going to miss out? What am I going to miss out? What are they going to say? So try it out. Let us know how it goes. With that, let's move on to Snapchat. Snapchat has introduced new ways to market your app to their users, aka snappers. This actually is a very interesting update because it allows developers to integrate Snapchat into their apps. Example, now one can sign into apps using Snapchat credentials, which was actually rolled out back in 2018. Now they're actually again evolving on that and doing this integration in a deep way. And now developer can also use dynamic lenses to create augmented reality promotions, right? So again, it's the same idea, like cross-linking. Basically, it's like, you probably have seen, if you go to certain sites, it says, create a new account or sign in with your Google account or Facebook account. And now you can also see the options for Snapchat. And Snapchat has a pretty good, healthy user base. We have already covered that in our previous episodes, where we have covered their earnings report and say how they have millions of active users. So it's pretty much a good platform for you to tap into if you are into the augmented reality space. So again, hats off to Snapchat for thinking innovatively and actually doing something differently, right? Again, platforms are copying each other and Snapchat is not trying to do that. The other thing is, in addition to that, you can also have, different types of ad campaigns that actually helps you to gauge the effectiveness of your integration and your ads and things like that into your app. So great option, right? Again, this is a show that brings you the updates. If you're an app developer that wants to tap into the Snapchat user base, then this is for you. But if you are not, then you shouldn't really spend the time to look at it because it's not worth your time. With that, let's move on to the next one, which is another update from Snapchat, because I guess they've been very busy. They just acquired this TikTok for music app called Voisey. I hope I'm pronouncing it right, Voisey, maybe. Yeah, Voisey is now part of Snapchat. It's basically a strong songwriting creation app that has gained huge popularity and is similar to TikTok, right? And Snapchat is trying to catch the TikTok crowd by acquiring this app. That's what the thought is in the market right now. What Voisey enables users is to create their own tracks, and users can upload their own beats, and there have been a range of vocal editing features that have been called the TikTok for music creation. Now, this is very interesting, folks. If you ask for my opinion, I will tell you where this is playing out is like, there are a lot of individual creators, music creators out there who do not get the access to the fame or the audience that they would like to. Like, back in the summer, TikTok announced something like that, where they would allow TikTokers to find independent, new and upcoming artists who are not really that popular. And so Snapchat is also going along the same route, and they're tapping into this crowd where there's music. The next, I do not know, Justin Bieber probably is there. The next, Drake is probably there, and they want to bring it down, and they will probably they just acquired it. And my analysis tells me that they will probably somehow integrate it into their augmented reality. And again, if you listen to the last update, where you can actually have a deep integration between an app and Snapchat, this is where it gets interesting, right? You can run augmented reality campaign or bring into this feature and play background music into it without actually having to worry about, licensing and DMCA and things like that. So again, these are all my opinions. Snapchat hasn't really announced anything else what they want to do with this acquisition, but my thoughts are it's going to be like something great coming out of it. And then guess what? Facebook and everyone else is going to copy it. So let's see. Okay, talking about Facebook, Facebook has also rolled out a few updates this week. One is that now all page admins have access to Facebook rights management platform. Why does it matter to you? Well, allow me to break it down for you. The management controls of Facebook gives admins the control to report and take disciplinary action towards images that are infringing on their copyrights. With this new update, every page admin on the Facebook and Instagram can control this tool. So again, if you and I are small business, we probably don't want it. Like if someone is using our content, because we want our content to get viral. like now, or reach as many people. Now imagine we spend money to create a content and someone is copying it over and putting their own logo in. I would think you would be upset, right? So this is a great tool, and big brands do that all the time. They are like upset and they are just like, you know what, we gotta ban them, we gotta report it. So in a way it's good, but at the same time it's a double-edged sword, right? We have seen with DMCA everywhere where, you know, some companies don't like anything negative, anything like that, or you make a meme of their own updates or images and they're gonna do run a DMCA thing, and you know they're gonna take it down. So, and if you're not sure what DMCA is just basically the law that allows you to file a complaint with the, you know, copyright infringement again with the platform for against a certain user, and then the platform is forced to remove that content within 24 hours again, unless the user files a counterclaim. Now, Facebook has a history of being really shady, dodgy, opaque organization where what happens after that, you know, there is no transparency, you know, how this will all work out and who's going to get banned and how many times if you have a takedown request it's going to be banned. But at the beginning of this update, it sounds like it's a great tool, right? But the devil is in the detail. We'll have to wait and see how this all works out. But let's move on to the next one. The next update is again from Facebook. Facebook Rights Manager now allows you to maximize your revenue opportunities for your content. Basically, creators can now set new rules in Rights Manager for detecting duplicated content as it is posted and then claim and add revenue. So this update actually goes hand in hand with the last update that we talked about, where you can actually issue a takedown request, or you could actually detect duplicate content and then claim ad revenue. It's just giving creators more control over when, how, and where their content is shared as well, right? So it's a good news. I mean, in terms of Facebook is realizing, you know, they have content that gets shared and they have content that is getting reposted, and you know those contents again, I would think this is more for video content, less of for image content, because you know you really don't get you see a video when you don't get an ad when you're watching an image or looking at an image. Like you're probably looking at something on Facebook or watching a movie or watching a show or watching something, and then you know an ad pops up, and now Facebook wants to give you the credit for, you know, creating that piece of content because you kept the users involved. With that, let's move on to our friends at YouTube. YouTube is actually updating the terms of service, and you know, for their in a sense, in the fine print there is this thing where they says they're going to serve ads to your video regardless of whether you are signed up for YouTube Partner Program, YPP. And this is why we say why you should sign up, because before you have to sign up for YPP to see, for your users or for viewers on YouTube to see ads when they watch your video. So for example, if you're watching this show, we haven't signed up for YPP. And if you're watching this show on YouTube, because we were not on YPP, you just watch this show without getting served any ads before, during, or after. Now what YouTube is saying, we're changing our terms of service. So regardless of whether we, the show producer of the TWIM show, have signed up for YPP or not, YouTube is going to still serve the ad. It's up to them whether they do it before, during, or after, or maybe all three of them. So, and why we say you should sign up, if your viewers, and what we found out is if our viewers are going to get served with an ad anyways, we might as well get paid for it. Right? That's why we said you should sign up for YPP, because it makes more sense. Because you want to make sure you get paid for at least creating the content, which is what we touched on my Instagram, Facebook as well in the last update. So folks, here you go. If you're producing content on YouTube, make sure you sign up for YPP. Google the word YPP, YouTube Partners Program, and then sign up, and you know, thank us later on. With that, let's move on to the next one. The next update is also from YouTube. YouTube Music has grown from 8 million active users to 77 million active users by end of 2019. So guess what? YouTube is launching audio ads for non-video consumption. I think that is fabulous, and we know this is happening. This shift is happening. Audio ads are coming because about last week or the week before last, we touched on where Spotify purchased a Reston-based company that does podcast ads. So this is the next frontier when you think of ads, opportunities to market, opportunities to showcase your product to or services to untapped users. It's podcast, it's audio. So hats off to YouTube, hats off to Google for staying ahead of the curve and actually launching it out. That basically tells me that sooner in the next 6 to 12 months, Facebook is going to wake up and they say, oh crap, we need to have an audio only option as well. And they're going to go scoop up either a podcast, company, or they're going to add a podcast audio only Facebook solution so that they could inject ads into it. But we'll see. This is just, my opinion, assumptions at this point. With that, let's move on to the last update of the day, which is in our bonus section. Now, our bonus section is actually coming from our friends at, well, I wouldn't say friends, but basically it's coming from this app, social media app called Planoly, Planoly. They created this guide or blog post where they said what's the best time to post on Instagram during the holidays, and they kind of laid out, broke it down based on regions, East Coast, West Coast, Europe, America, things like that. And one thing I will tell you folks, and this is why we are mentioning, well, at a surface level, this sounds like a fabulous content, right? OMG. Now I know what time to post my content. However, me being me, the skeptical me, there is an issue with that. What's the issue? Well, here it is. So I looked it up before recording this show, and I'm recording this show on a Sunday at 6:33 p.m. because this is where the week ends and our show week starts tomorrow, Monday morning, right? Or midnight or 12:01 Monday morning. So here's the thing. Today I checked out the Planoly's Instagram page. So they posted the content today at 11 a.m. because when I looked at it at 6 a.m. before I started recording the show, I looked at it. It says they posted something at 7 hours ago. They posted an image of a bakery in Soho, New York, 7 hours ago. And according to Planoly's quote unquote blog post, the best time to post would be 12 noon. Today or 2 p.m. on Sundays in the East Coast. So 12 p.m. or 2 p.m. on Sundays if you're in the East Coast. And I'm assuming Planoly is based in East Coast because they're putting up a picture of a bakery in Soho, New York. I did the legwork and to figure this out, right? So, and it was posted around 11 a.m. Right, because at 6 p.m. Instagram showed it posted about 7 hours ago. So now the question is, they themselves are not following their best practice. Number one. Number two, this was actually authored by some quote unquote user or a content writer in their company called Tarin Alam. She had her Instagram handle there. I clicked on it as well before hopping onto the app to record this show. And guess what? I will say it's a private account. She had 327 posts, 1K follower with 937 followings. So that's like, when you go dig a little deeper, that doesn't sound like a great piece of advice coming out from somewhere, right? It sounds great at the surface level, right? It sounds great. And where I'm going with this is like, this day and age, folks, anyone can create a content that's like really sensational, with a sensational headline that really grabs your attention, gets you hooked into it, gets you into their, I know what the blog post is all about. Well, they want you to serve valuable content, quote unquote, so that, you kind of look at it and then kind of figure it out from there if you want to use Planoly or not. Because, hey, look, at least it served their purpose because we're discussing about it. We're talking about that app because we didn't know that existed, or maybe it was not on your radar, but now it is on your radar. But the thing is, that's a clickbait to me, right? Number one is, would you go to a guy who is fat and, cannot move for a workout routine and asking for advice for losing weight? I know I would not. Similarly, if Planoly is really dishing out advice, they should follow it, in my opinion, their own advice. And especially someone, who is writing a thing should actually have used it and say, hey, here it is. here is our results by following this advice. Because what Planoly is saying in the blog post is that, hey, based on all the thousands of posts that have gone through our platform, we kind of figured out the combination, and we feel like, that, based on if you post something, a piece of content on at 12 noon on a Sunday, if you're in the East Coast, then that will get the highest traction. Well, Planoly, maybe you should try your own advice first. Then you can kind of come and share it with us. How's that? Well, with that, folks, I hope you take everything that comes along your way with through your skeptical lenses, and make sure you are not being fooled. And that brings us to the end of our show. Now you know everything you need to know. If you'd like to read more, make sure you visit our show page, where you'll find the links to some of the articles we mentioned. And if you're a dedicated marketer or entrepreneur, I highly recommend signing up for a Patreon account. All Patreons have access to my analysis, each week updates, and also have access to my marketing strategies specifically tailored to keep your business one step ahead of the trends. With that, signing off. Once again, this is your host, Sajid Islam. Until next week, take care. Bye-bye.